Your wife isn't as beautiful as my wife. Go get the queen.
God will be with us through it all. Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel for another Bible time with Sam and Rachel. Yeah. So this week we're talking about Esther, like we said we would. Take us away.
Yeah, so we read the story of Esther before we came in, and just to do a quick review to update our knowledge on the story. We have a lot more questions than most weeks, but we'll see what we can do this week to try to get through them at a nice and explainable rate. The first question we have for today is, how would you feel if you were Esther and ripped from your house to be the king's wife?
So this is a question for you guys to answer in the comments below.
Yeah, that's something, that's a little homework for you guys to do, because we can't answer all the questions. So we want to hear your comments. We want to hear your ideas in the comment down below. So don't forget to do that. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button. So our next real question is, was King Xerxes right to banish Queen Vashti considering he was drunk?
That's a good question. Well, I think that that was kind of like a rash decision. Because like, I mean, he was like, they were like drinking for like, I don't remember, like 7 days or something like that. So like, he clearly was not in the right mind to be making any decisions. So yeah.
He was on a bender. Yeah, I don't feel like that was the right time to make decisions, like while you were impaired. And like, he sought counsels from his advisors and stuff.
Yeah.
And, they were also drunk.
Yeah.
So
bad decisions all around.
Everybody's just lit, and it's not a good time to make decisions. Part 2 to that question is, would he have made a better decision if he was sober?
I think that like, because the whole reason they were mad at like Vashti was because she didn't want to like parade herself in front of like everybody.
Which is right.
Yeah.
Which is right. You know, it's kind of yeah, it's kind of like unfair. Kind of unfair of him to look like, she's not like parade around like a trophy wife. You know, to show it to all his friends. Look at this, look at that. You know? I mean, I feel like she was well within her rights to decline. However, it's back in those days, so the king had what do you call it? Superiority or whatever. Or,
yeah.
It is what it is.
Also, I feel like if he was like sober, he would kind of like maybe felt the need to do that. Cause I mean, I've never been drunk. I don't really know, but like I feel like when you are, then you're like, you start feeling some kind of way. You're like, oh, I have this. I should show everybody this. Or, I don't know what it's like. That's what I think.
Basically. I mean, it's just I don't know. He was feeling himself in the moment, and he's like, he's probably talking like, your wife isn't as beautiful as my wife. You know what? Go get the queen. You know, and she's like, no. Then they're all just stumbling among each other. What do I do? She's like, I'm so embarrassed. Just promised to show up his wife and his friends. Like, oh, she's not coming. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. What should we do now? You know what? Get a new queen. Okay, you know, this is just a series of bad decisions, but as we know, everything works out for the good. You know. Move on to the next question. How do you think Esther felt going into the king's palace?
So like when she like first goes to like the palace sort of from her home, I feel like she would be like really like nervous because it's like a new place. It's like moving. I guess. Like, you don't really know what to expect. You don't know who's going to be there. So,
who's all there? Anybody who's anybody. Yeah, that's a good point. You're used to an environment, and then to get changed into a different environment seemingly overnight would be a real shock for everybody, especially different cultures, right? Because she was of a different culture from them, so I feel like it would be a different vibe going in there. Such lavish things, gold this, gold that, silk, fine robes, it's a whole different vibe. And part two of that question is, how did she deal with the change of living at home versus at the palace?
Well, I think what helped was I don't remember his name, but I think he was like a eunuch or whatever that was like specially appointed to her, and he was like really nice to her, got her like a special menu and all this stuff, and like so I think that must have helped a lot. Was like because she was used to like just being with like Mordecai and stuff, so
doing her own thing.
Yeah, I guess it must have helped feeling like somebody else there was looking out for her. So,
yeah, I think she could. I think he saw like, oh, she's, he gets sense that she was different, and he just like, something just like pulled him toward her, and toward helping her. So I feel like he was like, what, she's kind of cool, let's see what she's about, and he saw that she's, of pure spirit, with a noble heart, and he just helped her out through the whole process. It's cool, like when you go to a resort and be like, this is Esteban, he will, need anything, he has your back the whole way, So that guy decided to have her back the entire process of the ceremony and picking queen and stuff, and it's really good. It's really cool to know that someone has your back, in a place where it's different. It's gonna be hard. It can be very hard, even like you said, moving somewhere different.
Yeah.
Not knowing anybody, not having anybody to rely on. It's always cool to have someone that's like there for you. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next question. It says, Why do you think Haman went after the entire race instead of just Mordecai?
Yeah.
This is in Esther 3. The 3. So as you know, like there's a feud between Haman and Mordecai, because everybody bowed to Haman as he walked by because he was the high official, and except for Mordecai, because he believed that you're always supposed to bow to only the one true living God, who deserves honor and glory and reverence. So he didn't bow to him, and because of that, Haman felt hurt. His feelings were hurt. He wants everybody to bow to him. So his feelings were kind of hurt when Mordecai didn't do that. So he kept going after him until eventually he got the king's blessing, the king's ring, to make a decree that he would slaughter the entire race of the Jewish people, just because Haman didn't bow to him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It seems kind of extreme to me. Like, if you have a problem with one person, then take it up with them, but you don't need to involve like their entire like race.
Yeah. Entire generation of people. Wiped out because. Yeah. He didn't bow to me, kill him off with their heads, like everybody dies. It's just too much. It's too much, I feel like. Maybe he was drunk, I don't know. No, he wasn't. But he was just too prideful.
Yeah.
Just too prideful, and pride, could be your downfall. It's not logical that you would slaughter women and children and generations because of one person. That's not logical. Stop thinking. How would you feel being a Jew in that time in Persia, learning that your entire race would be destroyed?
I would be scared. Like, I don't even know what I would do. I would just be like, what the heck? I wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, we're laughing about it now, right? It's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny back then, you know. You're getting up. You get up the next day. You're going to work. You're going to school or temple or what they did back then. It's like, yeah, y'all getting slaughtered. Yeah, it's a shock, a shell shock.
Mhm.
You don't. Why? Just came out of nowhere. Like we did nothing to deserve this. Why do we have to die? So I don't think. And I mean, and it was. And the thing is, it's such a big. It's not out of the ordinary. This has been done like a lot throughout the Bible, where women, children die, men die, generations die, and it seemingly like it was like no big deal.
I feel like that was like everyone's solution.
Yeah, like
let's just kill everyone. What?
We have a problem with the Jews. Yeah, just kill them all. Is that an option? That's shouldn't be an option.
Yeah.
Do you think Mordecai was being aggressive when he confronted Esther? Because would you just explain?
Sure. So when Mordecai learns about this decree, he's like obviously sad. He like is in like burlap, is it? And like ashes, and he's like weeping, and all the other Jews are weeping too. And Esther, she's like in the palace, so she doesn't know what's happening. And so people are telling her like, "Oh, Mordecai is like weeping in the streets," and she's like, "What's going on?" So then Mordecai like sends her like a copy of the decree, and then he's like asking her to like talk to the king because she's there and she can do that. And then Esther is like, "Well, if I just go into the king without him calling me, like I could die if he doesn't want me there. Like unless he holds out the golden scepter and like he's like welcomes her, like she could die." And so she's like, I don't know about that. But then he's like, well, if you don't do it, you're gonna die anyways because you're a Jew. Just because you're in the palace doesn't mean that you're gonna be saved. So yeah.
I mean, well, like the way you said it is like, if you don't do it, someone else is gonna do it, and then you will die. Like
yeah.
I don't know. Like when I read it, it just sounded like it's a little bit aggressive. I don't know. That's just me. But like it's like she's understandably scared. She's understandably concerned about her life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go in here if I can just die. Let's can I send like a letter or carrier pigeon or something? Like I don't want to go in there if it's gonna be it's just something you have to think about logically. But she did get the courage to go in and defend her people, and that's very admirable of Esther. Very admirable of Esther.
Yeah.
Why do you think? Why did Esther go about it the way she did? When she went into the king's palace and asked, and after the king held out his golden scepter, he asked, "Come to a banquet I'm making for you and Haman. Both of you are invited." Why do you think she went about it the way that she did? And also, after that banquet, she invited them to yet another banquet, and not getting to the point or the meat of the matter. She's just keeping inviting them to like one banquet and the next banquet. There's two banquets. Why do you think she did that?
Well, I think that like I guess like a lot of people kind of say like, oh, I mean, she was like nervous, and so she just was like, come to a banquet, and then the next time she's like, another banquet, kind of thing, because she was like nervous. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why, to be honest.
Why do you think she didn't just tell him like right there in the palace? Like
I guess it makes sense that she would have been nervous at that point because she was like scared if she was even gonna make it out of there. because like she didn't know if she was gonna be welcomed or not. So I guess after that whole thing, it's like kind of hard to like bring up another thing.
Yeah, she's
So
she's like, he's like, Esther, please rise. My legs, my lord. They aren't. They aren't working. So she's reasonably scared. You know, she wouldn't have been like, okay, let me. He is trying to kill my entire race. You know, she takes it in stages, and rightfully so, because next question here, how do you think Haman felt when he had to bring Mordecai on a horse? Now, if she had killed him there, if she had
told him like right away,
or at the first banquet, then she would have got an opportunity the opportunity wouldn't have been afforded for Haman to be humbled.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
So that I feel like all things together, this is all God planned. God, you know, God's a chess player. You know,
yeah.
Strategy. He's like, you get checkmate right there. But that's no fun. Okay, that's no fun. We gotta build a character, build a story a little bit more. Let's go. So he's like things happen the way they were supposed to happen. And Haman got humbled. He got real humbled.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
You had to dress him in fine robes, put him on a horse, parade him around town, saying this is what the king does for those who are loyal to him, or those who do him.
Or those he wishes to
honor.
Yeah.
Go around and yelling that from the treetop after saying, "I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah.
And now you got him on the horse. He's looking at you. You're looking at him. You're screaming to everybody that this guy's cool. You know. Yeah. It's a really real humbling experience, and then after that was the banquet.
Yeah.
And
then
what happened after that banquet?
And that banquet is when Esther finally told the king that Haman is trying to kill all her people. So then he was all like upset, obviously. And I guess also it was a good time because the king also realized that like Mordecai was like a cool dude because he like helped save his life.
It's a big deal.
So then he already had like an appreciation for Mordecai and like I guess the Jews, and then once he found out that Haman is trying to kill all the Jews, and he's like, "What are you doing, man?" I guess it was more angry than that, but
because also he was like I think like fell on the queen or whatever, begging for his life.
Yeah.
And he walked in and he's like, "Who do you think you are?" Off with his head. You know, his stocks plummeted. You know, he had no more investments. He just like there's like one thing after another thing after another thing. It's went downhill so quick in quick succession. And the next question we have here ties into that. It says, "Do you think Haman deserved to die?"
That's a hard question, I feel. Like, obviously, he did a lot of the wrong things, and he wanted, like, an entire race of people, like, dead. So, I can see why, you know, people would kill him, or why he would be killed. But, like, on the other hand, I'm like, I don't know if, like, I don't know if I really have, like, the authority to say whether or not he deserve to die. Like,
that's true.
Just human.
That's true. Despite all the things he did, the damage wasn't really done yet.
Yeah.
The full extent wasn't really done yet. But his intentions were of pure evil, directly from Lucifer himself. You know, so I think these things occurred to let us know in turn that God has our back. You know, not just in the immediate present, but also in the future.
Yeah.
Because these things happened in a way where it couldn't be anybody else but God pulling the strings.
Yeah, because everything kind of happened, like, so conveniently, I feel. Because it's like, oh, like, Esther was chosen to be queen at this specific time when Haman has a problem with Mordecai.
Mm-hmm.
Wants to kill all the Jews, and then like literally the moment where Haman is trying to go to the king to get Mordecai killed is when the king remembers that Mordecai helped save him, and so then
they were reading he called someone in to read.
Oh yeah, where he hears the story of how Mordecai helps save him, and then he's like, "Oh, Haman, go do this for Mordecai." Like,
actually, no,
literally, like,
no. He's like, what do you think I should do for somebody who who honors the king? He's like, well, put him on your best horse and best robes and parade around town and proclaim his glory. He's like, cool, do that for Mordecai. Now, yeah. And then that just humbled Haman there, and he got a taste of what it's like to know the true and living God.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think the Jews felt knowing they could defend themselves? And how do you think the opposition felt? Because as we know, after Haman fell to the queen, he ordered Haman to be hung on the noose that he set up for Mordecai.
Yeah.
And then, but the decree was already sent out and it couldn't be reversed.
Yeah, because anything that was signed by the king couldn't be reversed for some reason. So
that's how they're binding. Mm-hmm. They're binding. So they still had to. It's just still this large massacre that was scheduled to take place.
Mm-hmm.
So now the king gave Esther and Mordecai his ring to do whatever you like to help your people out. Mm-hmm. And they said, defend yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now by now like all these events have gotten onto the people and everybody's like scared of the Jews, and they're just like, okay, like some people even like join like the
Yeah, they became Jews. They're like, I'm too scared. I'm gonna become one of them.
Like, can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's just how they felt. I feel in that moment. I feel like the Jews were also so grateful they could defend themselves now that they could like defend their wives, their children, mm-hmm. themselves, their generations to come. It's a really like a cause for celebration.
Yeah, it was. They did celebrate actually.
Yeah, they do, and they still do today. In
it's called
Purim.
Purim. I don't know how to say it properly, but we'll put it on the screen. Purim. Yeah.
What can we learn from Esther's story?
I think that we can learn that in whatever situation we find ourselves in, it's there for a reason, and that God will be with us through it all. Because you can see that with Esther, she was obviously there for a reason.
Yeah.
Queen, and even though she had to go to the king, and she could have died, God intervened, and the king was happy to see her. So, and everything worked out.
Everything worked out as it always does when you serve God. We thank God for the story that He's given us that we might learn from the Bible and from Esther's story that we can apply to our lives. And we thank you for watching this week, and thank you so much for joining us for another Sam and Rachel.
Bible time.
Bible time with Sam and Rachel.
Yeah. So next week, who are we talking about?
We'll be doing Joshua and the walls of Jericho, but we'll be focusing on Rahab. Yeah, focusing on Rahab more in that story. So don't forget to like, comment down below, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. Ding, ding, ding. Bye.
Bye.